Hey, Avex. You looked great, but the blue shirt was a little too much bright blue. And if the opinion you need to absolutely... Holy shit. Lord Jesus, everyone. Praise Jesus. X-Force P. Tier 2 sub. 25 gifted subs. And then fucking on top of that, on top of all that, this guy donates $100. Here, have some money. Meow. A very appropriate thing to say to me. Meow. And also, here's $100. I will always accept if someone says, here's $100 to me. Although whether they actually give me that money, I guess, is another issue. But thank you so much. If you haven't already thanked this guy, and make sure to continue thanking him. Big supporter of StarCraft in general, so it's cool. It's always cool. See someone like that in chat, supporting other people, other streamers. I'm just glad they're supporting people, man. And that they, you know, I'm not saying that everyone who donates money is the only good supporters that I recognize, but it is awesome if they have the means to support StarCraft content creators, that they do so. And are generally cool people. That's always the best. But you know, you're sitting there and you're like, man, I don't know, man. Sometimes I just feel like I can't support because I'm a poor college student. Sometimes I feel like I just don't get shouted out enough, despite being, you know, a big fan. You know what you gotta do? You don't have to get money. No. You just talk and chat, and you be cool. 90% of people that I recognize, well, maybe not that high. If I recognize you, 80% of the time, it's not because you donated or played in a tournament or whatever, right? It's because you talk in my chat a lot and you have interesting opinions and are cool, so. But when we get a big baller drop like that, then we should always support it. Give big love to the people who can do it. We have Buzzbin going for a little bit of cheese here, goes to the hatchery, but then has the sneaky lings. She got lings. She got lings on lings on lings. And she's hiding them. It's a very old school way of playing out ZVZ. I believe this build has existed for all iterations of StarCraft, where the 14 pool, 12 pool, whatever, obviously has changed from a 6 pool. The old hide a bunch of lings in your main under the pretense of expanding is... It existed back in 2010 as well. Now, the Overlord of Telia going for that third base actually scouts this, which I believe is a mistake from Buzzbin. In fact, I will say is a mistake. That was just a straight mistake. She was trying to avoid this Overlord by going down here. And she was also trying to hide her lings specifically until speed finished. So for her to reveal that prior to speed finishing, and actually quite a bit before speed finished, is a very big deal. Queens are blocking the ramp. Telia, though, being a little bit bold with her defense here, is going to try and hold the natural with a spine crawler. 2 spine crawlers, actually, as opposed to trying to hold the main, as this is truly all in. You don't necessarily have to hold the natural base as long as you hold on to the severe drone counts and balance. And trying to save that natural might just bite Telia in the butt. In the butt spin. Yeah, okay. I think it has. I'm going to go ahead and say that it has. Telia should not have tried holding on to the natural. As we watch the spine color go down here, it might have already been too much of a snowball effect. I'm pretty sure it has. But for instance, if she had queen, lings, and hell, even drones as a 3-layer wall, you might have like a 3-layer dip, and you're like, some nachos and a 3-layer dip is delicious. That's even more delicious than that. A drone, ling, queen wall against a 15 drone all-in from a Zerg player. You might think that it's not more delicious than that, but it is, trust me. So yeah. Just a little too confident defending against that because she saw it coming earlier than she should have, maybe. Maybe that was the reason. But yeah, it's also a tricky map. To be fair, Automaton's already a tricky map to feel safe on as a Zerg player because you can't build a wall on the natural. It's just too far away from the creep tumor and also too big. And then even in regards to an attack like that, your natural is very far away from your main. And I want to say the ramp of your main is even kind of far away from your creep spread. So there are some other maps where the ramp to your main and to your natural, right, that one is like so close to both that if you put a spine color in the main and hold the line with queens, the spine color can actually help. And then you move it forward even further, And it can help try and save the natural, too. So you get, like, a dance of queens walking down, running up to the spine color, walking down. That doesn't actually exist on Automaton. It gets really tricky. Port Alexander is going to be Telia's map choice. She was forced onto Automaton, so it might just be like, ah, that's a dumb map. I'm over that already. Well, that voice is annoying. Goodbye. Oof. How was this person previously subbed for 2 months? How did they get to 2 months with such an opinion? Thank you, Kill619 for the tier 1 sub. Did I already say that? I don't even remember. Avex, you are cool. You're good. You're Gucci. Poor student, just go tag out Mountain Dew at GSL on Twitter. Legitimately, that's a good advice. The weird thing is, you know, I was talking about how chatting and chat can be very helpful if you, I mean, if you desire to be considered cool by the person you're watching. You don't have to be, obviously. But really, you can even boil it down to simpler than just being a cool person. Being an active person is really the coolest thing you can do in any community, actually. Going far beyond even esports, right? If you're someone who actively helps, even through just tweeting or, you know, words of encouragement or, you know, actually talking back to some asshole in chat and making sure that it's not just all overwhelming negativity, that is very helpful. And tweeting at sponsors specifically is a very good way to do it. It's one of those things where even one person, especially considering what this sponsorship is, if one person buys a $300 SSD, I don't know, whatever, you know, right, then that is actually a valuable return for the sponsor. For Mountain Dew, maybe one person saying, hey, about Mountain Dew isn't actually that appealing, but suddenly you get 100 people, 50 to 100 people every GSL broadcast tweeting, hey, about Mountain Dew because of this, then that's actually really quite good. So consider that as well, if you're looking for ways to be cool. And we all want to be cool, guys. In the top left is the pink Zerg. She is Telia. And in the bottom right as the green Zerg. I was going to go orange and then red. I don't even know why. It is Buzzbin.
Emergency induction.
Thank you, Ghastly12345, the Twitch Prime sub. And Polish Hammer for 50 bits. We got Buzzbin with a plus. Jesus Christ, speaking is hard. Fast +1 melee build. A little hidden in that main base. We'll see if Telia forces the issue of sending 2 lings up to the main, because that's the only way, theoretically, that she could see it. Yeah, it's supposed to send an Overlord, Suicide Overlord, into the main of a Zerg. Yeah, I will say one thing. Son of a gun. There it is. This scene does not have the smaller Twitch alerts, so I'll give you that much. I had already changed it on the in-game screen of my other overlay to make it smaller, but I'll give you that much, and I'll reduce the size. That's a lot of lings on the way. Telia tried to get those lings into the main base, but was denied. Buzzbin's queen on the ramp. as well as just a couple of lings to severely injure. Buzzbin is improving her 2-base all-in from 15 drones, no upgrade, to +1 melee at 21 drones. Telia playing very cautiously. It's kind of, it's like she's doing the same thing, but it looks like she's defending. She has the idea that Buzzbin will do this and will probably do it again the third game. She might have already kind of marked Buzzbin as a bit of a cheeser and is playing defensively, even though it looks like she is doing the exact same all-in. It's kind of a weird thing, right? She could have, if she had seen a third base from Buzzbin and a lot of drones, she could have also just done it all in herself, right? But in this situation specifically, she is going to be able to defend a lot better. As, actually, you know what? Did these overlords actually scout the lings? I think they missed them entirely. Not the best overlord scout, I suppose. But anyway, she had lings. She had plenty of lings. Telia matching the army supply of Buzzbin, and the +1 melee obviously going to help in the situation. Even with the surround, Buzzbin might just win out here. In fact, she's taking better trades against only half of Telia's army, so things are not starting off well for our pink Zerg, who's already down a game. Buzzbin's all-ins, ling-based all-in, probably going to work out here. Telia really wanted to shut this type of attack down. Getting to a Baneling Nest would have been far better, as it's not +1 Carapace anyways. It would still be a one-shot scenario. Even if it was +1 Carapace, you could still just kind of overmake Banelings and hope to hold. It's certainly easier than hoping to have more lings than your opponent. Yeah, Telia did have queens on the defense, and Fairness Advantage does still kick in for ZVZ. Kind of. But her queen has already died, and things were a little scary there. Buzzbin has a ton more lings on the way. She's not going to stop producing them, and she'll always have that upgrade lead. Telia, when you put it, you know, you just talk about the basics here. She doesn't have anything different. She doesn't have anything better than Buzzbin. Everything's the same, except she doesn't have +1 melee. Now she has a queen again, I suppose. That's the, again, maybe going to help out. But not even helping with these ling fights. Telia is getting absolutely slaughtered and is way too late to the Baneling Nest. Buzzbin is going to win with some ling-based all-ins to get to the finals against Telia's main race as well. GG. Buzzbin takes the 2-0. Definitely cheesing out our usual winner. But that makes sense. Telia has shown some weakness to a lot of ling aggression in the past, so this was just an extreme version of it. Who are my sponsors? I'm not sponsored. Well, actually, I have affiliates, I guess is a better way to put it. I am affiliated with Ting, so if you want to really study the game and enjoy learning about it, if I see the people on Clan, whatchamacallit, and their diamond, I think they just got there by you know, yeah, whatever works. But when I see Pigpan, I'm like, okay, so you watch Pig's videos, probably heard him talk about, you know, how to improve, and you're probably actively improving the entire time. I know it's not 100% the case. Pigpan at this point is a very large clan, but it already has some weight to it. But with that said, this is going to be a Diamond versus Masters 1/NAGM. You should play on NA. And that is going to be, a tough gig for our orange Zerg down here. In the bottom left, it is the Dark Lorax. In the top right, as the blue Zerg, she is QB. She is Masters 1 on Europe. I don't know exactly what her MMR is, but I believe it is awfully close, if not, yes, in fact, NAGM MMR. Hey, I see some people talking about the rules of the chat and how this all goes down. I'm going to give you a hint, guys. We don't actually care to have the whole sex versus gender discussion, the whole, well, technically, and you can't ban me because I'm technically right, even though you're being an asshole, even though you're trying to do this whole but my logics thing, but you're actually being an asshole. We're not actually interested in that. So if you want to come in here and then have a discussion on the finer nuances of gender and gender construct and whatnot, even if I agree with your point of view, and I think it's an interesting discussion in general, I'm going to go ahead and advise you not to do any of that. Take it to fucking Discord. Take it to PMs. I don't fucking care. Is NA's here for Wisconsin or California cheese? What is California known for cheese? That's not a thing. California is kind of known for wine. But even that, like, you know, not really what California is known for. +1 melee on the way for Dark Lorax. Maybe she was watching the last CVZ, or maybe she just likes this build. But QB will have to be very scared of that +1 melee. We'll see if it's an all-in in literally a second here as we get the 21 drones. And we have Lings on the way. How about any more? Do I got more? No, I got more drones, actually. So not going to be the all-in that we saw from last game. But it is going to be a considerable amount of Lings that are well upgraded eventually. And QB will not have the same benefit of the upgrade. But if it is a otherwise standard ZVZ, we should indeed have a Baneling Nest on the way. And that is the case here. So it's going to be very hard for the Dark Lorax to utilize this +1 melee properly, just being straight up here. Such an upgrade. Like, +1 Carapace gives you that automatic extra health versus a Baneling, which is just impactful no matter what league you're in. +1 melee, I actually would argue, is not nearly as impactful. If you get a surround with Lings, or rather, if there's a, you know, even number of Lings going down, does a +1 melee mean that you win? Yes, yes it does. But that so rarely happens, right? We're talking more about surrounds and run-bys and control and getting your queens and whatnot, your general macro and how many Lings can you make versus the other person. So +1 melee as a build, I would actually say is a harder thing to really truly make work with just, you know, like a move and I hope I win. But it can, especially if QB were to skip the Baneling Nest or not to have any scouting. But her Overlord sees the incoming Lings. The timing of the speed is very, very off. And this isn't really going to work out that well. She at the very least could have hoped that Banelings weren't made, even if there were the option was there. But now she is going to be up against Banelings, already prepared. And QB, feeling very confident here, is going to eventually click on that +1 melee and see it and be like, okay, I need to note that. But it means that the Banelings will be effective as a defense, and she can send a couple Lings across the map to do some counter damage, which is exactly what she's going to do. The Dark Lorax was even-ish on drones. That might change soon. She is certainly behind on third base and does need to do damage with this. There the drones go down in the bottom left, natural. And the Lings here are just being simply, I mean, easily taken care of, really. And QB not even wasting Banelings when she knew she would eventually get that surround. QB with a masterful defense and control over this game. The Dark Lorax now trying to get her own Banelings, but they're a tad late to the party. And it's not looking so hot. She lost her queen in the natural. She has no army supply comparative to QB. And while her +1 melee, again, it's something. It's an upgrade. Upgrades are good. It's not the best upgrade. Not for this context. Oh, well that's good. That is very good. Alright, that's a good start for the Dark Lorax's defense, but as she desperately tries to form a defense, she falls behind in that economy. And is also about to lose their third base. QB now getting that +1 Carapace. Banelings in the main don't get the 2 detonations all on the same drone, so not many went down there, but this game is basically over. 2 Banelings gonna try and hold on to the natural, but the third has been popped off for a little while now, and the Dark Lorax is slowly dying. Barely holding on because of the explosiveness of Banelings, but still dying. QB could go back on the drones, and that's exactly what she does. And she could go into stronger, more stable units such as Roaches later on if she was worried about perhaps the ping being an issue. Maybe she thinks that she would start to lose too much in a lane Baneling war. She could transfer over into other easier things, or she could continue all-inning. Well, not really all-inning. She can continue attacking. Now up 17 drones while she does this attack. Lots of micro on all different sides. So far, Dark Lorax showing some really great splits of her Lings against the Banelings of QB. It's just a numbers issue right now. And the numbers are in favor of our blue Zerg. Gets on top of that queen. If there weren't already enough issues for the Dark Lorax to handle, now she has to handle not having any injects. Bad news. Layers on the way. +1 Carapace is finally almost done. QB not getting that GG that she wanted yet, but it's gonna happen. Here's the +1 Carapace. So things are... I mean, the bangs are still gonna one-shot, because the +1 melee. Is that enough lings? It is enough lings to force the tap out. GG is called. QB takes game number 1, despite the Dark Lorax's best attempts to get that all in. The execution, a little off. Little off. It's almost guaranteed you will reveal slow lings to an Overlord before speed kicks in. But generally, if you do it perfectly, we're talking like 2 seconds and then speed kicks in. When even in the last series, we saw like a 10-second, you know, like, oh, I got the scout and then I can defend. This was even longer, I want to say. I think the Dark Lorax showed her slow lings with a good like 15-20 seconds left. Maybe I'm exaggerating, I don't remember, but it was a big deal, and QB was already playing the standard macro game that gave her the option of building banelings, so she was already like had the start to a defense, and then getting that early scout was really the clincher there. King's Cove. California's 100% known for cheese. Really? Hey, Maynard. I forgot I'm a mod, Avex. Now remembers he has all the power. Can someone do the match to command? My exclamation mark is broken. That's so specific. It's so specifically like any, obviously any key can break on a keyboard. It's just as funny that it's like it's the one thing you need to start a command is the thing that's broken. Not the R button. So you can only type like "weddy" instead of "ready." No, it's the exclamation point. You can use the command pancakes or waffles to illustrate whether you think pancakes are better than waffles or whether you are wrong. Crusher of cities, get the fuck out of here. Waffles are superior. I'm so disappointed. The top left, down 1. It is the orange Zerg, the Dark Lorax. Which is the darker, edgier version of the Lorax. In the bottom right, as the blue Zerg, she is QB. The more Japanese version of a Rubik's Cube. QB. It's not my fault her name wasn't nearly as easy to joke on as the Dark Lorax's was. The Lorax, the movie, is already a bit of a meme in and of itself. So the Dark Lorax would be easy to make jokes out of. What are you making a joke out of QB with? Nothing. No offense to these players, but manling, banling wars are painful to watch. I don't know what you mean by... I don't know. That sentence confused me. Do you mean in general that they're painful to watch and you hate watching it, so you just don't like that phase of ZDZ? Or do you mean that they controlled, like, improperly or something? Because, actually, QB is really, really good. Arkin SCV, thank you for giving a sub to Queasy. Is I supposed to say that? Queasy. It's like Queasy. It's like Queasy Cupquakes. But it's Queasy. Long day of StarCraft for you. ZG, take my energy. Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, the cast ended a bit early. If it was a situation where the cast ended 30 minutes before the Banshee tournament, technically I could have casted this, but I would have been dead. So, it is definitely a bit of work. I am struggling a little bit. Having about an hour to chill out is nice enough. Thank you, Rod of Nod. I hate when the any key breaks. Yeah, I never start those damn computers when that happens. 3 base to just 2 right now, but I think QB is going to take a third. There we go. So 3 base to 3. Baneling Nest to probably Baneling Nest of QB. And there it is. Swedish cakes? The hell are those? Biscuits are actually delicious, and you know how everyone has those foods that if they had a steady supply of that food, they know they would just eat it all day and get super fat? Everyone has that food. Well, I shouldn't say everyone. Some people actually have problems getting appetites, and I feel bad about excluding them. But you know what I mean. For me, it's pizza. I might get full after 3 slices, but then an hour later, I'm like, cold pizza. That sounds delicious. So I just don't buy pizza. Biscuits are another one. I think if I had a steady supply of nice, soft, buttery, flaky biscuits. Oh no. Nah, I really want biscuits. Yeah, I would have gained like 50 pounds by now. Alright, Lings are coming in here. And actually getting some decent damage. Queen goes down. Drones should go down as well. Baneling's hurriedly crawling back, scuttling the way forward here. Gonna get really good hits, too, to take out all of those Lings. But the Dark Lorax, I'd just be happy with that because she got the 3rd base. What up? Really, 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 really good snipe there for the Dark Lorax, who is now up 6 workers, up the 3rd base. She is slightly down in that army supply, but can she get the Banelings to hold on? Because army supply doesn't mean anything if you have a Baneling that gets like 20 Lings. Isn't it great? Baneling was great. They actually are rather fun. So that is the question. Can the Dark Lorax hold her position and take advantage of the economic position she's put herself in? Or does she take damage equal or close to equal to the damage she did to QB? Well, so far, the answer is the Dark Lorax is fine. She holds. She hopefully saw the 2 Banelings go over to the right side. She's getting up her macro game. Blair's on the way. +1 melee is on the way for QB, but that's a long time coming. And talking about that, last game, I'm going to continue saying that it's a very difficult upgrade to really make you look abusive. It doesn't change the kill counter on anything, which often makes things look abusive. And Lings are usually the unit that gets worse and worse as time goes on as well, right? Those Banelings are very inefficient. They kind of got like AI'd to 2 sections of that, to the very much happiness of the Dark Lorax. Good SimCity, by the way, is the reason that happens. So just like noting that this is technically what you would want to do any given opportunity. That's why no drones really went down there. QB was going to continue the aggression. She's got 3 Banelings here, but sees a lot of Lings going to her 3rd base, her brand new 3rd base. Actually, I think she took a little while to actually slap that down. It's not even 50% health quite yet. Regardless, she is forced to retreat to make sure that it doesn't die again. The Dark Lorax actually can be happy with buying that time. Looks like the Banelings that were made on the offense just went into the lair and then didn't do a lot of damage. I think there might be some control issues, maybe the pings affecting QB here. She did win the last game. We did not go over to Europe. If she were to lose this one, though, then it would flip over to the Dark Lorax being a little disadvantaged. Spire's on the way. Now that is something that can really toss a one game. Roaches are so simple. Generally, they don't get overrun if you're in a decent position, although it certainly can happen. Mutas, though, they take a long time to get to. They're very expensive. They also will not help necessarily versus mass run-bys, because they take a little while to actually catch things and kill things, whereas roaches can be spaced, 5 roaches at a base at a time. I think we can already see some of the effects of going for that Spire. Like, Dark Lorax is doing a fantastic job holding on until 10 seconds ago, and then boom, suddenly within 10 seconds, she was losing queens, lings, 19 drones, and now possibly even losing her Spire. I think that's going to be game, which is just damn unfortunate. The +1 melee really have a lot to do with that. I don't know. I think it was a lot more about the Banelings getting around and outside and surprising the Dark Lorax than it was that +1 melee. The spawning pool is about to go down too, and that is just a huge deal. Technically, the Spire can still be remade with that lair, but the spawning pool means no more queens, no more lings, and that is going to be it. GG. PB takes the 2-0, despite a bumpy start. And we'll advance on to face Buzzbin. I know it started with a B. Buzzbin. The first map of the finals will be Carlos Junction.